My name is Mira. My family laughed at my unemployed husband for 3 years, but I never spoke up. They called him lazy and useless at every dinner. At our 10th anniversary, he sat next to me in silence while my sister said, "When will you get a real job?" Suddenly the lights went low. The doorman announced a guest. A woman stepped forward and called him Mr. Chairman in a loud voice. I felt heat on my face. I felt my heart beat fast. Was this a joke? I held his hand and he did not move. He smiled in a way I never saw before. I had a secret then. He had a secret too. How long did he hide this truth? The question hung in the penthouse like smoke. I wanted to scream, but the skyline waited outside the balcony. Would our life change in one night? My name is Mira, and I live in a duplex penthouse with my husband, Arjun. We married when we were young. He lost his job soon after. He stayed home. My mother said he was weak. My sister said he was a failure. I tried to be calm. I cooked and paid the rent with my small salary. Arjun never complained. He read books and fixed a little garden on our terrace. At night he watched the skyline from our balcony. I thought he was proud but poor. He joked and said, "One day you will see me shine." I smiled like it was a small dream. I believed him in my heart, but my family grew cruel. My mother asked me to bring a new man. My sister sent me loud messages. The doorman heard them all. I grew tired, but I loved Arjun. I saw small things he did. He kept many envelopes in a safe place. He never told me where he put them. He answered my questions with soft words, "Trust me." I wanted to trust him, but I wanted proof too. On the day of our 10th year, I made a cake and invited family. The high-rise lights blinked outside. The elevator was slow. The terrace smelled of jasmine. My sister wore a bright dress and a smile like a blade. She stood and said, "You married a man with no job. We are sorry for you." Arjun sat like a stone. He did not speak. I felt shame and anger mix like fire. I touched his hand under the table. He looked at me and said, "Wait." I felt a change in the room when the doorman opened the door. A woman in a black suit walked in. She looked calm. She held a small phone. She said, "Good evening. I am his secretary. Mr. Chairman asked me to call him." The room laughed, but she did not smile. Then she said louder, "Mr. Chairman is here tonight." People turned. My sister laughed again and said, "Is this a joke?" I felt the floor move. My heart felt heavy like a stone. Arjun took my hand. He stood like a man born again. He walked to the window and opened it. The city lights looked small. He spoke in a low voice. My name is Arjun. I will tell you everything now. I felt air hit my face. Would his words ruin us or save us? The doorbell rang like a drum and the elevator stopped. A voice came from the hall, and the secret grew louder. Arjun led everyone to the living room near the rooftop view. He walked slow. My mother held her fan like a shield. My sister leaned to whisper cruel words. The secretary sat and did not speak. Then Arjun did something small. He tapped his phone. The screen flashed his company logo. I did not know the name. He said, "You called me useless. You said I had no work. I kept this secret to protect you. I am the chairman of Veritas Holdings." My sister fell back. My mother closed her mouth. The doorman looked at me like he saw a ghost. I did not feel proud. I felt fear. Arjun smiled, but it was not warm. He felt like someone I did not know. He told us the story slow. He lost a job 3 years ago. He did not tell me then because I was scared of my family. He worked in secret. He met the real chairman at an elevator door. He helped him in small ways. He fixed a problem the company had. The chairman offered him a place. Arjun studied numbers and law in late nights. He did not eat much. He hid the money and worked hard. When he rose in the company, he kept his old life. He said, "I wanted to see who loved me for me, not for money." I looked at him and saw pain in his eyes. I felt shame for my family. They had judged him and joked. Arjun showed papers and a small key. The paperwork said he was now chairman. My sister tried to laugh, but her voice broke. The secretary stood and bowed. She said, "Sir, the public will know tomorrow. Tonight is private." My phone buzzed with messages. The skyline outside seemed to applaud. People in the room wanted to change. My mother asked him to tell his story again. He told the truth, but his voice had steel. He had been kind to me, but also quiet about his power. I wanted to cry and hug him, but he looked away. He said, "I kept my secret to test you all. I wanted to see who stayed when I had nothing." The room grew cold. My sister's eyes flashed like a knife. She stepped forward and said, "You tricked us. You made us look small." Arjun did not answer. He looked at the balcony and then at the elevator. The bell in the hall rang again. Someone was coming down the corridor. I heard a footstep. Who would arrive next? The footstep came slow. A man in a dark suit walked in. He was the real chairman. He smiled like he knew a secret. He walked to Arjun and touched his shoulder. He said, "You did well, son." My heart beat so fast. I watched him look at my family. He did not forgive them. He saw my sister and my mother and he raised an eyebrow. He loved Arjun for his mind and his will. He sat and told us more truths. The chairman said he watched Arjun from the elevator. He saw Arjun help clients, fix a problem, save a small team from bankruptcy. He watched the quiet man do brave things. Then the chairman said, "We gave him a test. He passed. He proved he can change everything for this company." My sister started to speak. She wanted to ask for help, for money, for a job. She wanted to use him now. The chairman listened and then asked for a list of names. Arjun wrote names slowly. He wrote my sister's name last. He did not care about being hurt. He was the man I loved, who had kept a secret. But then he changed. He told the chairman to cut ties with some people. He said, "No more loans. No more favors to the family who laughed." My chest broke. He told the doorman to stop small gifts to my uncle. He said it like it was legal work. The chairman smiled and gave Arjun a new card with a high-rise mark and a rooftop office. He gave him keys to a private elevator and an exclusive terrace for meetings. I looked at Arjun and saw a new face. He looked at power like it was a hunger. The good man I knew turned hard. He said, "Those who mocked me will not get help from me now. I told you I would see who stayed. Now the test ends." My mother started to cry and said she was sorry. My sister begged. I stood silent. I loved him and I feared him. He stepped close and said to me, "Mira, you made choices too. You chose me when I had nothing. But I kept a truth from you. Can you live with a man who will punish the rest for their cruelty?" I did not know the answer. The elevator dinged and a message arrived on my phone. The news of the night was live. The city would know in minutes. The skyline waited with lights. My life would change forever. What would I choose? The news went live. Within minutes, the skyline showed our faces on big screens below. My family watched the feed. My mother held her hands over her mouth. My sister stopped begging. Arjun stood like a new king. The chairman put his hand on Arjun's shoulder and nodded. I felt a cold truth. He hid his rise to watch us. He made us small to see who loved him. He was kind, but he also chose to punish. In the first half of the ending, the full reveal landed. Arjun was not poor. He had built power in secret. He kept his good heart, but it grew sharp with control. I loved him, yet I saw his change. I had a choice. I could stay and accept his rule, or I could walk away. I chose a third way. I spoke to him in the rooftop garden under the stars. I said, "I love you, but I cannot watch you hurt people who are weak. He looked away. Tears came to his eyes. He said, "I wanted you to be proud." I stepped close and took his hand. I said, "Be proud with kindness. Use power to help, not to punish." He listened. The chairman watched and smiled slowly. My sister left the penthouse that night in silence. My mother called to say sorry every day. The lesson came soft: power can hide, and power can change people. The true test is not to hold power, it is to keep your heart when you have it. I learned to speak my truth and to ask for love without tests. The skyline glowed like a promise. Our lives would not be the same, but I hoped they would be kinder. The elevator dinged one last time, and I knew a new day had begun.